Alright, what is up boys and girls, welcome back to another video on the channel. Please do like and subscribe, leave a comment and get involved down below in the WhatsApp or the Telegram for our stock picks for this week. I don't think you're going to want to miss them. So just taking a quick look at the news today. As you can see, stock markets trimmed losses on Thursday, finished mixed after President Trump's sweeping tariffs hit dozens of US trade partners. Obviously, there is still a lot of uncertainty surrounding these tariffs. The deadline was last Friday, which is why I think we saw such a huge drop to the downside last week. As you can see, we have been on the way to recovery since then, but a bit of uncertainty surrounding whether or not we are going to go sideways for a while. I said this last week that I think it's quite likely that we do see a bit of cooling off before continuation to the upside for the S&P 500 here. As you can see, the S&P 500 right now looking very much like it's just had a big correction and now grinding back to the all-time highs. But I did say that it would probably go sideways for a little while as we have a lot of uncertainty economically in the US. You can see we have recovered around 50% here, a little bit of a pullback, but we are looking like we're going to be continuing to the upside. Interesting that we had a bearish day yesterday but recovered in the PM, and now this is looking set, in my opinion, like it's just staircasing back to the upside to a new all-time high. The S&P 500 here looking completely fine. A little bit of uncertainty surrounding what the tariffs will hold for the immediate short term, but I think long term they are going to benefit the US massively. You can see the tech heavy Nasdaq Composite rose nearly 0.4% to close to a fresh record, while the S&P 500 ended little change. It's basically been lagging behind a little bit, but overall I do think it's going to be really good going into the rest of the year. I can't imagine that there's going to be anything that's going to pull that economy back unless we see some kind of black swan event, because they are going to be generating a ton of income from these tariffs for the country. You can see Trump's deadline for the trade deals landed at 12:01 ET on Thursday. Imports from nearly 200 countries now face duties ranging from 10 to 50%, which is very interesting indeed. You can see the overall average effective tariff rate is projected to jump to 18.6%, which is very interesting. The highest since 1933, which was one of the reasons that they got out of the Great Recession, essentially. So you can see Apple shares climbing here on Thursday as Trump and CEO Tim Cook announced the company would make a $100 billion investment in the US. Very interesting. I saw the interviews for that actually, and it was quite interesting how much Trump was getting involved in that. Nvidia stock rising again. Obviously pretty much everything rising again, to be honest. If we take a quick look at the charts here, you can see across the board, everything just having a little bit of a pullback last week and then continuing to the upside here. Nvidia here completely unfazed, continuing to the upside. A few pullbacks recently, but pretty much just to fill those previous gaps in the market before continuing to the upside. How's Tesla doing today? Tesla up this week after dropping last week, still coming to the top of this big bull flag formation. By the way, guys, if you do want to get some more information about these kinds of patterns, do get involved in the WhatsApp and the Telegram down below, and we can help you out with that. You can see we've been coiling up in this bull flag here, and we're probably going to move to the upside for Tesla, I would say. Considering on the horizon, things are looking pretty good for Tesla, I would say as well. Microsoft having a bit of a pullback here, as you would expect from this channel that it's been trading in for a long time. Incredible pump for the earnings. Looking like we're going to go fill this gap and then bounce, most likely. Amazon starting to recover from that huge drop that it saw, because obviously a lot of imports and exports in Amazon's business model has led to that massive drop that we saw. Further sell-offs are now coming up to fill that gap, as you would have expected. Amazon obviously always a buy for the long term, and it has been looking pretty good recently. How does this look on the daily? Quite interesting. It's not had the most incredible time. Obviously, since COVID, it had that big pump, the big dump, and then it's obviously pumped back to all-time highs. Overall, in the long term, it's done incredibly well, but a bit of a mixed result in terms of its long-term chart. Apple's very similar. It has this indomitable grind to the upside, but it's not exactly a clean moon to the upside like people have been looking for. But you can see, obviously, off the back of that news that I just talked about surrounding Trump as well, we have seen Apple pumping to the upside here, looking like it might finally come up, fill this gap here that we saw from this incredible drop, and then start to move back to the upside for all-time highs. Google looking fine, making its way back to all-time highs as well. Meta chopping around at all-time highs after gapping up. Palantir also an interesting one. This one has just been absolutely ripping to the upside recently, up at $182 so far. Basically looking absolutely incredible. I actually bought Palantir all the way back here when it first launched at like $10, and I've been holding it ever since. So pretty incredible 20x gains for me there in the space of around, what we're looking at here, 4 years, 5 years, ever since COVID. I remember when this stock launched, had this pump all the way up to $50. I never sold. It came down to $5. I never sold. And then look at us now. Long term, a really, really good investment. But overall, things looking fine for the stock market today. Not too much to report this Friday. You can see a few pieces of news here. Nvidia getting a price target hike from Goldman Sachs, which is what we talked about before. Not too much to talk about on that one. Obviously, I can't see past the paywall, but we did talk about that in yesterday's video. Got Meta Platforms shocking the world with that incredible gap to the upside on the back of those amazing earnings. You can see the incredible results it posted during its second quarter because of all of its AI adjacency. AI stocks are doing incredibly well right now. I can't wait for the bubble to burst on them, to be honest, so that I can buy the dip, because there's going to be some incredible opportunities, isn't there? And you can see Tesla stock here near a buying point as Elon Musk's full self-driving improvement hints. We can see Tesla, obviously, they're always iteratively improving, and they do have AI working on their models as well. You can see Tesla is training a new full self-driving update, which could be a big improvement. Obviously, this will iteratively increase in power as it continues to gather more data as more people drive. You can see it's still chilling in a little bit of an area right now, not doing too much, as I said, in this bull flag. But I do think this will start to move up once we start to see positive outcomes, so I think, surrounding Donald Trump and Elon Musk, which will be resolved at some point. I think we'll start to see some more upside after that. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, please do drop a like, subscribe to the channel, get involved down in the WhatsApp and the Telegram below for our stock picks for this week. We don't want you to miss them, and we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.